Hello, my friends. Welcome to Big Brother's Little Brother. Hope you're very well. Big Brother's very own rolling news service, giving Sky and News 24 a run for their money, you cheeky chop. It's day 16, time 7:30. On the show today, a man who, when evicted from the Big Brother house, received one of the warmest audience receptions ever. Not surprisingly, when you realise that he's black, he's gay, he's Tory, and he's a fox hunter, there's something in there for everyone. Derek Lord's with us, everyone. I'm not Derek Lord, and the reason why there's not a cutaway of Derek Lord is because he's caught in the maelstrom somewhere out there in his car, but he's currently in Cricklewood, dear Lord, and he's on his way here. Fingers crossed. And joining him is a woman who's fabulous, witty, and dare I say beautiful, and coincidentally a very influential TV critic for the Times, Caitlin Moran, everyone. We'll kick off the show as we always do, my friends, with Little Brother's big news. Get out. First up, Jacknophobia. Oh, yeah, sorry. At 11 every single day, I forget to do the math. 11:11 a.m. today, a new housemate arrived in the house. Jade was less than impressed at sharing the bedroom with the new arrival and called on Jack to evict the intruder. You're having a laugh, aren't ya?
Oh my God, there's a big spider there. Jack, there's a big spider. I've just literally just found out there's a spider in your shoe. Please, can you get it? Because I can't get anything in mine.
Just get a bit of tissue and get it out.
Why are you taking your time? Oh,
Where?
it's in between your shoes.
Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
Oh no, my shoes are there. I swear on my life, Jack, please. No, no. Please, no.
Creepy crawlies? Nah, not my game, love. Next up is Shilpa's statements. 11:20 a.m. today, Big Brother called Shilpa into the diary room to talk about her relationship with Jade. Here's just a taste. More just later on.
She kept believing and she kept hyping up this whole thing in her head that I was a cut above the rest, which is something that I never ever portrayed. I'm just a human being like everybody else. Only my colour is different.
We're talking a lot about that later on in the show with our guests. And lastly, wind in the pillows. The earth literally moved for the housemates today. Walls shook, windows rumbled, and for once it had nothing to do with Jade and her shouting. At 12:51, this happened.
God, it's really windy today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Positive
their Thanksgiving is just huge and...
This Christmas?
Oh,
Whoa,
my
the
God.
whole building moved.
Oh my God!
Oh, my God.
It is.
Oh my God, it's like falling apart.
God, look at this bed. What is it?
Let's jump in the crew. Yeah, things are falling down.
All Big Brother housemates have died.
Don't say that.
Well, that'd be news.
Yes, indeed it would. Hey, did stuff fall off the wall there? 36 cameras. That was Little Brother's big news. OK. No apologies for what we're talking about today. The worldwide debate about the alleged bullying, of course, and racism, as you all know, continues on the front pages today, not only here, India, Australia, and also today in the New York Times. It's just extraordinary. Here to bring us right up to date after last night's escalation of events is Caitlin Moran. Hello, Caitlin. How are you? It's nice to have you with us.
Lovely to be here.
So, first things first, before we go any further, we saw in the news Shilpa talking to Big Brother in the diary room. Let's take a full and comprehensive look at that.
Shilpa, you mentioned you were not happy 2 days ago. Big Brother noticed you had a conversation with Cleo in the bedroom following an argument with Jade.
Mm-hmm.
You implied you thought the differences between the two of you could be racially motivated.
No, actually, I take that back. I thought it was because everybody was having an argument with me, and I take that back. I don't think that is true. You know, people say things in a fit of anger, and I stand corrected. So I don't want people to to think and feel that I felt that way, and I continue to feel that way. So even if I said it, I'd like you to please clarify and put this as a statement from my side, if you can, that I don't feel that there was any racial discrimination happening from Jade's end. I don't think that's true. That's it. I think there are a lot of insecurities from her end, but it's definitely not racial. So, yeah, that's the way I feel.
Caitlin, this is obviously tricky subject matter. What do you make of it?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, I don't want you to be Jackie and me to be Shilpa. My name is actually pronounced Caitlin.
Oh, I'm so
But you can
sorry.
refer to me as the Brummy throughout. You don't need to learn my name.
So
That's fine.
sorry. I've been shouted at call her Caitlin all day. So, Caitlin, I do apologise.
That's okay. But watching that there, what really struck me is she doesn't watch Celebrity Big Brother, so she wouldn't know. Most of the stuff that's been going on has not been happening to her face. She's not seen the majority of the comments, particularly the most offensive ones. They've been happening in quiet kind of bedroom conversations away from her. So I'm sure once she's seen everything, she may well change her mind.
I guess, Caitlin, there's two things here, isn't there? There's the bullying that has obviously taken place, or perceived bullying has obviously taken place, and the vitriol has been pushed towards her. And then the stuff that's kind of the nastier stuff that people argue is racism that's gone behind her back.
Yeah. And when they're doing it, it is a bit like watching monkeys grooming each other. I mean, clearly the people who are doing it, the girls. Well, one thing that does annoy me is generally people are referring to it as the girls and saying it's the coven and the witches, but Jack has been there for a lot of it, and he said some of the nastiest things as well.
Well, I think that's a really interesting point, because as horrible and as nasty and as vitriolic as Jade has been, as yet, I haven't heard anything overtly racist coming out of her mouth.
No, whereas Danielle has, and usually to an immediate shocked silence, and then people laugh nervously afterwards. There was one comment she made about Shilpa's curry that was kind of, I can't remember what it was, and then everyone was quiet for a minute, and then they kind of laughed nervously. So
the obvious divide between Shilpa and the younger girls, and of course Jack, is it race, culture, class, jealousy, or a little bit of everything?
it's a little bit of everything, isn't it? But I mean, I think there's been a big argument about whether it's racist or not, and if you're using things that you know are offensive to, if you're using, talking about malnourished Indians, even if you in your heart are not racist, if you're using that as a weapon to hurt and demean someone, what is the difference between that and just being outright racist?
You put it very well in your column that you wrote in the Times. Would you say there's like a fader switch?
Yeah, there's a dimmer switch of racism, and at this end there's being on a bus late at night and a black kid in a hoodie getting on. And then at the other end, there's calling your child Oswald Mosley Jr.
Yes.
Or Adolf. And most people are somewhere along that continuum. And if you're put around other people in different situations, your amount of racism can go up or down. In normal situations, they might not be racist at all, but feeling pressurised and insecure, it might bring it out.
And also, if it is what a lot of people say is cultural ignorance, there's also how you react to that cultural ignorance. If you're apologetic about it, then really, it's okay, because everyone's ignorant of other cultures in the world, and no one can really help that.
Well, it's the confidence in which they're saying these things. It's being said. It's being said as to boost their own confidence, and they're saying things. They know this is ignorant stuff. They know they shouldn't be saying these kind of things. They know there's taboos around saying these kind of things, but they're still saying it with the kind of confidence of, I'm still going to be able to get away with this because we're a group together.
But it's interesting. Do you honestly think that they're in there not thinking it's going to be hellish when I leave this place? Do you think that, because maybe Jade thinks she's fighting a class war rather than making a comment on race? Do you know what I mean?
But what everyone forgets is that Jade did this all the first time around. She did exactly the same thing. Jade was so hated the first time around. I mean, she was on the cover of tabloids with kind of, sort of like being called an ugly pig and the most hated woman in Britain. And she did exactly the same to Sophie, who was posh and middle class, and bullied her. Yeah, I mean, she's not learnt that lesson at all. She's done exactly the same thing again.
Sure. If she leaves, the speculation that Shilpa and Jade, hasn't been confirmed yet, are up for eviction. If Jade does go, which if she is up, is likely.
Yeah.
What can she do to turn her public image around?
Well, if she did a reality TV show where she went to India, maybe with Shilpa as her guide, and kind of learnt about the ways and, became less ignorant and stuff, maybe that would work. But I think it's going to be difficult for her.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul Morley yesterday was making a very good point that that maybe we're getting to the point where people who are famous for nothing other than themselves, maybe we are getting to a point where we want to start getting our revenge on them. Like,
Sure.
what have you actually given me, culturally? Maybe you're going to start turning on these people.
OK, let's take another look at what Shilpa had to say.
What was it at the time that made you think that Jade's behaviour could have been racially motivated?
I don't know. Just the way she kept snapping at me. way she kept talking to me, and the way she kept thinking that she kept believing, and she kept hyping up this whole thing in her head that I was a cut above the rest, which is something that I never ever portrayed. I'm just a human being like everybody else. Only my color is different. But she kept, I don't know, singling me out, or she kept looking at me with a lot of doubt and a lot of mistrust. So I think it's just a sequence of events that created that misunderstanding and made me believe for maybe a fraction of a second that it was I thought she was being racist, but I don't think so today in hindsight that she was being racist. I think that's being too presumptuous on my part, and I give her the benefit of the doubt that she is someone who's nice deep down within her heart, and I don't think she would do something that I don't know, that would be anything close to being racist.
It's weird, you know. Another dignified answer, and it's all over the radio, it's all over the TV, it's all over the news. And I listened to 5 Live this morning. A caller made such a good point, and it's the irony here is that she's being ridiculed for actually what we would consider to be traditional British virtues,
yes.
which is, you know, stiff upper lip, civility,
fair play,
grace under pressure, exactly, all these sort of things.
Well, when is she going to crack? I mean, watching that again, like, when is she finally just going to bang her head against the wall and go, she's a cow? There's no two ways about it. She's just so... I mean, even when they had their final big hoedown, the most nasty thing that she could say to Jack was, to Jade was, you need etiquette lessons. Yeah, that's not street fighting, is it? You need etiquette lessons. Well, that's very reasonable. That's basically cancelling. That's not a low blow. OK, brilliant. Going to be looking at the papers with Caitlin and Derek after the break, if it's here. And we're opening the phone lines for Call BBLB right now. You can ask anything you like, but I'm guessing it's not going to be about the limo task. We'll see you in 3. Woo indeed. Oh, hello. Close. Welcome back to Big Brother's Little Brother. Hope you're very well. It's day 16. The time is 7:47. No surprises about what we're talking about today. The strips on Jermaine's nose. Everyone's looking at it. We are joined by ex-housemate Derek Lord is here. Thank you. And got the name right. Good. Derek, lovely to have you to join us. Thank you very much. Yeah. OK, the Big Brother debate is still driving the global news agenda, considering other events going around the world. Are either of you surprised at the speed and scale of this? Because I think it's taken all of us aback a little bit.
Well, I mean, I think in the context of the global agenda, probably not, because it just happened to be that Gordon Brown was in India. So, I mean, it therefore became a very global issue. But I'm not at all surprised that here the issue has become very topical. And this is largely because, and this is where I think that we must actually sort of congratulate Big Brother, because it does actually have educational content. It's not just trivial, because we're now conducting a national debate. You know, millions of people are engaged in this. And what we've actually learned from this experience is that however subtle racism is, it's never, ever tolerable.
Yeah, of course, and that's definitely agreed. We've got you guys to have a look at some headlines. Most of the press have expressed outrage at the action to the girls, and rightly so, obviously. But there are a variety of angles, so we've got about 3 or 4 stories we want to look at today. The first is taken yesterday, the 17th, I believe, in G2, The Guardian. This is from Jermaine Griff. And the quote is, "The problem is that most of the housemates are too dim to convey what a pain in the arse Shilpa is without appearing to persecute her." Now, this is a very interesting point. What's your take on it?
Well, I read the whole piece, and Jermaine's bit, I mean, God bless her, Jermaine Greer, but I mean, she's a bit nuts, particularly when she talks about celebrities. When Steve Irwin, the Australian naturalist, died, she said that it was the animal kingdom getting their revenge on him. She's not very sympathetic towards celebrities in peril or that are dead. And in this case, the whole piece was basically sort of blaming Shilpa for having brought it upon her. And again, you do see in a lot of instances when people are bullied, a lot of people say, well, they brought it on themselves. I don't think anybody, however annoying they were, deserved that amount of bullying.
Well, absolutely. Sorry,
but I make the reverse point, and that's that the hatred of Shilpa is based on probably 3 or 4 things. The first is beauty, the first is that she's glamorous, and the third is that she's a damn sight more successful than they are. And they are largely insecure around her, and they don't really know how to deal with her.
But it's quite telling that in looking around for a weapon to beat her with, the most effective one that they find, the most powerful one they find, is saying racist things. It is just to say things, you know.
Well, I mean,
is that the easiest thing to grasp at? Because
but hang on, let's just not jump the gun here, because I mean I've just arrived. I'm going to have my
After
say.
your wind's gone.
I haven't come all this way to sit here to listen to you. Now,
Derek, there's no need to be
You,
rude.
Derek.
I have no black and white racism here.
Now listen, I do not readily share the view that anything that Jade said was racist. I think actually the agenda moved on, and it's probably legitimate to say that Daniel was outrageously racist. But I'm not entirely sure that she meant it, because I think when she went into the diary room and she realised what she'd said, I think she herself looked pretty shocked.
Sure, but Derek, you've been in the house. You understand what a claustrophobic atmosphere is and how the tiniest thing becomes irritating in there.
Exactly.
And I suppose what it is that people aren't intelligent enough to pick on something else that actually displays their irritations about people, so they pick on the most obvious thing, which is someone's differences.
What is that? I mean, what else can they throw at her? Your eyebrows are very amazing. Your hair is incredibly glossy.
You're astonishingly beautiful.
Yeah, you're really rich. Dirk fancies you. The face man fancies you. There's nothing else to hit her with. So I mean, they're looking around for the most effective weapon.
OK, the Indian Times is up next. This is a quote from the Finance Minister, which is who is Mr. P. Chidambaram. This will pass. The episode does not strain ties between the two governments and the people of India and the UK. I mean, that's extraordinary, really, isn't it? The fact that...
Well, that quote is basically, leave me alone. It's a busy day. I've got contract tomorrow. You're talking about Big Brother. It's me for you, whatever.
He's the only man that said something sensible about the whole thing.
Yes, yes.
We move on to the Telegraph. Neil Mitchley said the current Big Brother hoo-ha does raise some serious issues, but racism isn't one of them. Now, I think his column alluded to the fact that there are more important things to talk about, and there's more important issues to do with race, maybe out in the wider world, which is obviously true, but at the same time, he kind of played down the significance of the show. What do you thought?
Well, how many people have complained now? I mean, over 20,000 people think that it is a race issue, so that in itself makes it a race issue. We need to talk about why they think it is a racial issue. There's the next debate to have.
Yeah, but one of the things that's also quite revealing about it is because people have been able to see it for themselves and they're not relying on other people's interpretation of what was seen. Actually, a lot of people had very different views as to whether or not it was racist.
But that's the beauty of Big Brother, isn't it? Everyone
Well,
has a big
indeed.
fight about it.
Well, it's like I said yesterday, I think the most important thing is, and we're talking about it now, and it's provoking debate every single time.
And nobody's actually said what is...
Everyone's talking about it.
Nobody's actually been able to say to me, at any rate, I don't know whether you can, what is a racist? And my own definition of that is somebody that only sees colour rather than the individual. And I don't think it really applies here.
Well, I think you've almost put your finger on it as well as is your definition. So I think everyone has their own definition about it, doesn't they? I mean, it's such a wide subject. We're not going to...
Well, apparently, I mean, if I say I want black coffee, I mean, that's a racist remark. I mean, you can't be silly about this. I mean, let's try and have an Oxford Dictionary definition of it, and I think we'll use mine for that purpose. OK, on to the New York Times, which is... I never thought I'd say on this show. This is what Big Brother is for, said the novelist Harry Kunzru. It holds up a mirror to national attitudes. If we don't like what we see, we ought to change. I always say that the show, as a whole, is almost a reflection and a condemnation almost sometimes on society in two different ways. But is it a mirror on society? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it'd be a mirror on a very pressurised society. It would be a mirror on a society at war, because you're looking at a group of people who are in incredibly highly pressurised situations. So, in day-to-day life, people aren't as pressurised as the people in that house. You're seeing people under extraordinary circumstances.
But I do think that up and down the country, in Bradford, Leeds, Birmingham, whatever, this sort of... there's this kind of sort of spat happens between neighbours. I mean, somebody was arrested who's well known the other day because she had a spat with a neighbour, which allegedly
Sure.
Racist. And I think it shocks people who live on Downing Street that people behave like this, and that's why this overreaction happens, because they don't normally come across it.
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to go to Cool BBLB, but before we just do, I mean, it's funny how a lot of my friends, even though I certainly think the show is a mirror of society, a lot of my friends have been saying, hang on, these people don't reflect my views, and I'm white, and I'm middle class, and I'm, I'm English, and I'm proud, you know?
That's why all those people who've complained is just, that's the best thing about it.
OK. We're going to go to Cool BBLB. Glenn in Peterborough. Hello, Glenn.
Good evening, Dermot. Good evening to the panel.
Go for it, Glenn.
OK. Shilpa, we saw earlier in the programme, and said she does not believe that the girls are being racist. Do you, as a panel, believe that she's going to change her mind when she gets out of the house and sees the footage for herself?
Sure thing.
Yep, I think she is, and I think, given that she's got her black belt in karate, she's going to turn into Miss Piggy and just go screaming across that stage, going, "Hiya, chop!" Yeah, she's going to be vexed. How would you not be vexed? I mean, they've been pretty snide.
Thanks a lot, Glenn. Kate in Derby's up next. Hey, Kate.
Hi, Dermot. Hi, guys.
Go for it, Kate.
What's the solution to the situation at the moment in the Big Brother house?
OK. What's the solution?
For them all to be evicted. I think that's the solution. And put me back in.
Yes, definitely. I agree with Derek. Put Derek back in.
Yes. It changes every day. I mean, almost, sometimes hour by hour. And when the eviction happens on Friday, I mean, a change will come about. And I think that they'll probably sort of do a bit of kissing and making up and a bit of apologising and so on.
I think God is already doing the solution. He's bringing the big wind, and the big wind will blow down the house, and then we'll have to climb out the
wind of change.
Not sure I want that at all. We have an email here. Cleo used to be favourite to win. Any chance Cleo still could win, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
I doubt it.
I think it could all blow over.
Thank you very much. That's pretty much all we've got time for today. Thanks to Derek and Caitlin. Caitlin. We're back tomorrow, same time. The main show's on 9 p.m. Russell's on with Big Mouth at 10 on E4. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care, guys.